Welcome to our space of hope and inspiration, where faith is ignited and the Word of God meets us right where we are. Thank you for being here and for allowing us to walk with you. A letter. Just a sheet of papyrus. Fresh ink. A royal seal. And inside, a death sentence disguised as military strategy. No screams. No drawn swords. Only words. Words written by the same hand that once sang psalms to heaven and now signs an execution order. You are not here by chance. You are here because something inside you knows that this story is not just from the past. It is yours. It is mine. It belongs to everyone who has ever remained silent when they should have spoken out or used their power to cover up a mistake. Today, we enter the darkest verses of David's life. 2 Samuel 11:14-21, where the king, in despair, crosses the line no one should ever cross, and where a messenger becomes a witness to a truth that could cost him his life. Prepare yourself, because this isn't just a biblical story, it's a mirror. When morning came, after Uriah, drunk but resolute, went back to sleep with the guard, after the kind plan had failed, David got up. Not with regret, but with cold determination. He wrote a letter. He delivered it to Uriah. To Uriah himself, the man about to die carried his own death sentence in his hands. Do you realize the psychological horror here? It is as if someone were handed their terminal diagnosis wrapped in an envelope with their name on it. David told him, "Take this to Joab, your general." And Uriah, loyal to the end, obeyed, because he trusted, because he believed in the chain of command, because he never imagined that his king had made him the messenger of his own death. Here's a first lesson. Power corrupts not with shouting, but with silent decisions, with ambiguous emails, with WhatsApp messages that say, "Fix this," without leaving a trace, with veiled instructions that everyone understands but no one questions. How many times have you been complicit simply to avoid causing offense? How many times have you signed something knowing it was wrong? But that's how it's done. David is no longer the shepherd who faced Goliath. He is a man trapped in his own labyrinth of lies, and each lie needs a bigger one to cover it up, until the only way out is the death of an innocent. Joab receives the letter. He reads it, and he isn't surprised. Because Joab knows David. He knows how he thinks. He knows that when a king says put him in the thick of the battle, he isn't talking about strategy. He's talking about elimination. So Joab obeys. He puts Uriah exactly where he knows he will die, facing the fiercest warriors, near the wall, in the army's blind spot. And yes, soldiers fall. And yes, Uriah dies. But notice something crucial. Joab doesn't act alone. He is trapped. Because in systems of power, everyone is a hostage. The one who gives the order and the one who carries it out. Both bear the blame. Obey without question. People do terrible things simply because an authority figure asks them to. And you? Have you followed orders knowing they would hurt someone? Have you stayed silent in a meeting because the boss decided? Have you deleted an inconvenient message to keep the peace? Joab isn't a villain. He's a mirror for all those who prefer complicity to the cost of truth. Now, the most brilliant part of the text, Joab doesn't just send the news. He prepares the messenger. He tells him, when you tell the king what happened, if he gets angry and asks you, "Why did you go so close to the wall? Didn't you know what was being thrown from the top?" You answer him, "Your servant Uriah the Hittite is also dead." Why this instruction? Because Joab knows that David will feign indignation. He's going to put on a show. He's going to shout, "It was madness to go so close to the wall." That's reckless, to hide the fact that he himself ordered that recklessness. But Joab gives the messenger a key word. Uriah is dead. With that, David understands. Your plan worked. There is no longer a witness. But there is also a silent scream in that sentence. It is as if Joab were saying, "We know what you did, and even if we don't say it, we all know that Uriah didn't die in battle. He died because of your shame." The messenger, then, becomes the only bridge between truth and deceit. and he has two options: to say only what he was asked, or to add, "By the way, Your Majesty, this was your fault." But he doesn't. He remains silent, because in that system, to speak out is to die. And in your life, are you the messenger who only repeats the script, or the one who dares to say, "This isn't right"? Here is the emotional core of this story. David gets what he wanted. Uriah is dead. Bathsheba is widowed. The secret seems buried, but the text doesn't say that David celebrated. It doesn't say that he slept peacefully, because silence doesn't heal. Silence corrodes. When you choose to cover up one mistake with more mistakes, your soul becomes a graveyard of buried decisions. And though the world sees you as a king, you know you're a prisoner of your own guilt. Today, many live like this, with petty betrayals piling up, a deleted message, a silenced truth, an injustice allowed, a promotion gained at someone else's expense, and they think no one knew. But you know, and God knows, and that weighs more than any throne. Pause. Breathe. Look at yourself in the mirror. Imagine you're in David's place. How far would you go to protect your image? Joab. Would you obey an unjust order out of loyalty or fear? Uriah, would you defend your principles even if it costs you your life? The messenger. Would you tell the truth even if it destroyed you? This story isn't about the past. It's about today. In an age of social media, deepfakes and manipulated narratives, are you willing to be Uriah? Or have you become David, looking for shortcuts to save your reputation? Remember, idleness led you astray. Fear led you to lies, but only the truth will lead you to freedom. If this reflection resonated with you, if you felt a knot in your stomach, if you recognized a pattern in your life, you are not alone. At Gokrip, we don't sell perfection. We offer real transformation. Because the Word of God is not a museum. It's a scalpel that heals what others ignore. Subscribe to Gokrip. It's not just a channel. It's a community that walks with you through the highs and lows. This isn't just an old story. It's the same dynamic we see today. Think about Kala, a startup manager. She discovers that her boss has been inflating figures to attract investors. He asks her to sign an altered report. She hesitates, but signs. It's not my problem, she tells herself. I'm just following orders. A month later, the company collapses. Dozens of employees lose their savings. And Carla, although technically she didn't lie, carries the guilt of having remained silent. If you were the messenger who delivered the letter without questioning it, does this sound familiar? Have you ever been in a meeting where everyone knew something was wrong, but no one said anything because that's how it's done? Have you ever sent an email that whitewashed someone's image at the expense of the truth? The system doesn't always ask you to kill. Sometimes it just asks you to keep quiet, and that silence kills. 2. Because when you allow power to manipulate the truth, you become complicit, not because of what you did, but because of what you didn't do. Take a minute. Answer aloud or in your mind. In what area of your life are you being the messenger of a letter? You daunty question. Is it at work? In your family? On social media? Are you repeating narratives you know are distorted just to avoid conflict? Now, do this. Write a single sentence on a piece of paper or on your phone. I will not deliver the letter without reading it. And every time you feel pressure to be silent, to sign, to agree, remember that phrase? Because integrity isn't measured in grand gestures, but in the small no's that no one sees. Uriah died, but his name survived as a symbol of loyalty. David survived, but his soul was wounded until he faced the truth. Don't let your silence become your epitaph. If this reflection resonated with you, if you recognized a place where you've been silent when you should have spoken, you're not alone. At Gokrip, we walk with you, not with perfection, but with truth. Subscribe. Like this post, if you believe the world needs more. People who refuse to hand over the letter without reading it, help others find it. Subscribe to Gokrip, truth that not only inspires, it transforms. Leave your prayer request in the comments. We are praying for you. You're not alone, and leave a comment. Today I choose to read the letter, because here, the word not only illuminates the past, it heals your present. If this message touched your heart, like it, help others find it. Subscribe to Gokrip. It doesn't just inspire, it transforms. Leave your request in the comments. We're praying for you. You're not alone.